Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Off the Ropes with John and Josh. I'm John. This is my co-host, my brother, my friend, and my tag team partner, Josh.
What up?
I've been trying out new ways to open up Off the Ropes with John and Josh, and after doing that DX tribute, I think I figured out another one, Josh. And I think this one, I don't know that it's going to be as good, but it's going to be powerful. So you might want to move your headphones back for just 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to podcast!
Yes. And all the ladies
little
panties
Michael Buffer for all you relic people.
Fair enough. So, yes, welcome, everybody. We are on episode 33. It's been a bit since we've done an episode. We apologize for that, but we couldn't stand idly by after some stuff has dropped, and we're going to make a whole episode about it.
Listen, there's a lot of stuff going on in wrestling lately, guys. I mean, there's been pay-per-views, there's been talk, there have been rumors, there has been speculation, there have been a lot of things that need to be addressed. Like Josh said, we couldn't stand idly by. We do apologize for the absence, but if you're not following what we've been doing outside of Off the Ropes, go over to Josh's other YouTube page. It is called Merc with a Movie Blog. Yep. And check out our other podcast that is called Last Call at McLaren's. Yo. That's what we've been doing in our spare time is we've been working on another podcast. Off the Ropes still holds a dear spot for us. But, you know, we were branching out into something else. And then as we were doing that and wrapping up season 1, this mountain of shit just fell in the wrestling community. We were like, well, shit. We can ignore the pay-per-views and stuff like that, but we got to start addressing some of this.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, there was a shit ton of releases that happened. And these specifically, now there's been releases for the last 2 years, lots of them.
Lots.
And, but these ones stuck out particularly because of some of the names that wound up on it. And we're going to get into some of that. And at the end of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Survivor Series pay-per-view, specifically the teams that were released. You know, we wanted to end it on something, you know, a little bit interesting. Maybe keep your interest throughout the end.
It's really weird to prelude like the start to this conversation. With this set of releases, this reminds me of the release category that like Braun Strowman was in, when like Braun and Bray and like Mickey James, like these are
that was the one back in April, like that big one that they did, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, some of these people were just on TV. Like, how the fuck do you explain this?
Yeah. Like just at like WrestleMania, we had people because that was like, was it Billie Kay was on that list and she had just been at WrestleMania.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt had just been at Mania.
Yeah,
of course he'd been off TV for a couple months at that point, but like,
so it was interesting, and so this is definitely I think the biggest one since that, and has been the most impactful. So let's kind of dive in. We had 18 releases that just dropped. I think it was on the 4th, so it was just a few days ago. Like
now, Josh has been racking his brains out to put a lot of this information together for you guys. So hopefully I mean, we know that other places have beat us to like this whole topic, and now we're just adding to it. But we've got our opinions on some stuff and some things we want to say as well. Yeah. And we figured, you know, right here's the perfect place to voice that opinion.
Absolutely. So, like I said, 18 people have been dropped. And I'm going to kind of go through the list. We got Taya Valkyrie, Ember Moon, Jessie Camilla, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, Oni Lorcan, Trey Baxter, Zeta Ramir, Scarlett Bordeaux, B-Fab, Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, Karrion Kross, Harry Smith, Nia Jax, Eva Marie, Keith Lee, and Mia Yim. Some big names in there, man. So I'd like to get your thoughts first on kind of what your initial reaction was when you heard all these names.
Well, when I first heard and I looked up the list, I was like, holy fuck. Like, the first one that caught my eye was Keith Lee.
Yeah.
I was like, they just fucking repackaged him. Like, he was just getting back on TV.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't.
They had been testing out that whole Bearcat thing, and then they finally dropped Keith and started calling him Bearcat Lee.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, like, wow. So then I started scanning the list a little bit faster, and I was like, fucking Karrion Kross? Yeah. I'm like, he had just been repackaged and brought up to Raw. I was like, man, I'm like, what the fuck? Ember Moon was just going through some shit in NXT where she was going to finally start, it looked like, developing her character more.
Yeah, they had just brought Scarlett up to the main roster.
No,
they weren't doing anything. No, yeah, when I was looking into it, it was all kind of quiet, but they had brought her up.
Jesus Christ!
And but they just hadn't done anything with her yet. Yeah.
Well, that figures.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, the one that really sank my heart and I felt the worst for was poor Mia Yim.
Yeah,
she got called up to the main roster. She got saddled with the whole fucking
the retribution
gimmick. And then, like, she got sick, taken off TV for a little bit, and then never came back.
Yeah.
And, like, her and Ember Moon were two of the, like, women wrestlers I really enjoyed watching. Like, Ember Moon has an amazing finisher that I've never seen done before. And Mia,
I really liked Ember Moon quite a bit. I thought she was awesome.
Couple of the other people who got released, like, not gonna lie, I'm not shocked that they got released, and I'm not shocked. I'm shocked they didn't get released sooner.
Yeah.
Especially like Lucha House Party. Kalisto is already gone, and now Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik. Yeah. I'm like, I mean, Lindsay Dorado's out there already trying to throw fists with people.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
So we'll get into all that. Yeah.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, we talked about how, there's been so many releases over the last 2 years, and I saw an article that it listed everybody who's been released in 2020 and 2021, and there's over 120 wrestlers who have been cut over that time.
You can essentially start a whole new fed with that.
52 from last year, 72 this year, including the ones that we just got.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts to think that they're just like bleeding talent, essentially.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. A couple of these people, without mentioning names, because we'll get to it when we get to it. A couple of these people didn't shock me being released, but they did.
Yeah.
At the same time, but I'm like, no big loss.
Yeah. A couple of them, I'm like, hey, I'm cool with that.
I mean, like.
I think anybody who has watched our show enough would know who the two are that we don't actually care. I guess three, really. That we don't really care have been released.
The sad part is like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm glad they're unemployed. They'll land on their feet in other places. Well, at least two of them will. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, and this is going to sound horrible, I'm going to be that guy for a minute.
Dude, one of them?
Huh?
One of them is on the tongue of Tony Khan. One of the ones that you do not like.
It's got to be Karrion Kross.
He's one of those, but I'm talking about one of the ones that you...
It better not be Eva Marie. I swear to God. Because she needs to go home and choke on her husband's dick and just die.
Well, I don't know about that, man. Dying is that's strong. I don't wish that on people.
Fine.
I try not to.
She needs to go home and never come back to the world of wrestling.
That I'd be fine with.
Swear it upon me right now that she will stay away from the business.
That I would be totally fine with. Yeah, absolutely. So apparently, as with a lot of the times when they do these releases, the superstars are told just via email, which I find it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's better than just not being told, because I remember one of the recent ones, some of them didn't find out until like the release came out. They're like, wait a minute, what? My name's on this?
Could you imagine though being the kind of person who doesn't check your email regularly?
Dude, like seriously.
Like my email doesn't pop up on my phone automatically, so it's not like I just check my email.
Yeah.
So I would get that fucking email and probably not see it for like what. I would be on my way to a show and then being like, oh, that's probably a good time to check my emails. And be like, oh, what the fuck? And then I would show up and they'd be like, oh, we can't let you in. I'd be like, oh, you're going to let me in?
Yeah. Now, I don't know when the emails were sent because I'll be talking about something that kind of relates to this later on, but there's at least one superstar who I think knew ahead of time. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm assuming these emails were sent out obviously before the release dropped. So some of her tweets, you could kind of tell something was up. If you knowing what happened now, looking back, you're like, oh, okay. It seemed like maybe she was hinting at something. You probably wouldn't have thought about it in the moment. But looking back, it's like, I think maybe but we'll get to that when we get there.
Fair enough.
And I'll bring that back up. So there is some talk going around that some of these releases, not all, it's not like a sweeping thing, but some of these releases are connected to some vaccination statuses for certain stars. There, from the report that I was reading, there's at least 5 of these released superstars who are unvaccinated, 2 of which are like staunch anti-vaxxers and then are kind of open about that, and that's Nia Jax and Karrion Kross, which, I mean, we don't like either of them as like on a personal level, so I feel like it makes sense like that personality didn't clash with either of us or didn't mesh with either of us, but it makes me have to almost assume that Scarlett is one of those 5 since she's with Karrion Kross. I don't know who the other 2 are. I don't necessarily want to speculate. I have, like, me and you, we talked off air. We have our thoughts about who it might be. But I don't want to like start like putting fingers on people unnecessarily.
Yeah, we don't want to be those guys.
And
we're those guys enough already.
That is true. That is true. And then I saw this article that kind of proposed all of these cuts are more about sending a message to the rest of the roster. And it intrigued me, that thought that, one, if some of it was about vaccination status, okay, that, they could be saying, hey, we're serious here. You could get fired for this now. Okay. And also that no one's safe. You have bigger stars like a Keith Lee, like a Karrion Kross, even a Nia Jax. We may not like her, but they were doing a lot with her. You know what I mean? Before.
I mean, she's also been there for a while.
Yeah. And she's like lineage too. She's in that wrestling family. But nobody's safe. And so what are your thoughts on this possibly being a message to the rest of the roster?
I'll try to make this as not political as I can, because I know me and you were trying to respect the not getting into political. Because, I mean, Josh and I are both open. We're both vaccinated. So, I mean, both of us are on the bandwagon for people being vaccinated.
Yep.
But I understand why certain people can't. I understand if there's a medical reason why you can't get it, or if there's a outside circumstance, like legitimate reasons though why you can't get vaccinated, as long as you still support others being vaccinated. And again, I'm trying to make it political. I don't want to see the comments blown up with like, you two fucking suck and whatever. But if this is what they're doing and WWE's like, look, we want to make the road safe for everybody. I mean, you're around thousands of people in that building. And
it's not just that, real quick. It prevents, if you have unvaccinated workers, it can prevent you from being able to perform in certain venues.
Well, that
have vaccine mandates. Like if WWE has like a schedule with this certain venue, and they're supposed to have like a certain person booked, but they're unvaccinated, they can't.
That is true.
They either can't go to that venue, or they can't use that person. You know what I mean? So it puts them in a bind.
That really does put them in a bind. You're 100% correct on that one.
Yeah.
And that's the shit where like WWE is like they're gonna lose money either way. And I know because me and you have made this joke for years, budget cuts. I mean, it happens. I mean, originally it started with like the taking away of like pyro and like
it was the whole pyro
big build-ups and shit like that. Like you stopped seeing like build-up vignettes for a long time and stuff like that between matches and stuff like that as well. And it sucked because that's kind of what makes wrestling. Guy comes out and he does his signature pose and it's like boom, 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 boom. And you're like, yeah. And so like Josh and I used to joke all the time when we'd play certain wrestling games. You skip an entrance and you just look at the other guy and you go, budget cuts.
Yeah.
But then like it literally started becoming a like monthly thing with the WWE, and they're like, well, we need to save more money this month. And I mean,
and it made sense last year, a lot of sense, because they weren't doing live shows, so like which is where a ton of their money comes from.
Yeah.
So it made sense, but
COVID really hit a lot of people in the pocketbooks, not just the people who didn't have money.
Yeah.
The people who were used to making like thousands to millions of dollars off of people who had like barely any money weren't making any money at all now.
Yeah.
And I mean, WWE's got some deep pockets. Tony Khan over in AEW has some deep pockets, but it doesn't matter how deep your pockets run. The fans are who are paying for these people to do those shows. And if the fans can't pay you, well, now you ain't making money. Your superstars ain't getting paid. Merchandise isn't getting bought. Ticket sales at shows aren't happening. It all spirals. And I mean, it's a downward spiral at that.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, someone's going to pay for it. The only way to make up for it is by starting to put these rules into place. Fans could start coming back if they were vaccinated and wearing masks. Now they want to make sure the superstars are safe, because it's not just about the safety of the superstars and the people in the crowd. These people got to go home to their families and shit too. And like Josh said, a lot of these arenas and stuff are full vax. I kind of live near the Buffalo Bills Stadium. And the only way to go see a Bills game right now is if you're 100% vaccinated and have proof.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people are going up there to see that. If you want to go see your favorite wrestlers, you're going to want to be vaccinated as well. And I know some people are still like, fuck that shit. But I'm just saying, is it really worth it? Most places are giving away the shot for free. And, I mean, there haven't really been that many negative side effects.
Yeah, it's negligible. The negative side effects that have happened have been negligible. It's almost none. That's So but I mean, people will latch on. I mean, I don't want to get, like I said, I don't want to get too.
Yeah.
People will latch on to those few, and ride that wave.
But back to what you were saying. I mean, I think WWE is doing what they have to do right now to cover their ass so they can have the shows they want and do the like. I'm really shocked that they were able to put on the Saudi Arabia show, because like that's a huge fucking risk right there.
Yeah.
Like the United States is still like the highest populated like place where COVID is still a big thing right now. Yeah. And we're gonna go tromping into Saudi Arabia and be like, yo, what's up, Prince? We got all our guys here and our women, and we're just gonna do our
thing. Have my own problems with the whole Saudi Arabia thing, even outside of that, but yeah, like I feel like international travel probably should be on the lowest tier of importance right now.
I mean, you would think.
I mean,
a lot of normal people can't international travel right now. That's why I like a lot of like people like Toni Storm. She was off TV for a while because she was stuck, where she was. And like Walter was stuck in the UK and couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay had that same problem for a little bit. Pac couldn't show up to AEW because, he was an international travel guy.
It happened right at the beginning with Rhea Ripley. I remember, she was back home and everything got locked down and she couldn't come back.
Yep.
So
that's the shit right there that like they're trying to prevent this stuff. They want you to see your favorite superstars. They want you to be able to go. Wow, I call them superstars. I can't believe I said that.
I still do that sometimes. So.
They want you to be able to see the people you want to see, and they want you to be able to see them live. It's not like WWE's like, get vaccinated or die. They're just like, hey, you want to come see our show? Get vaccinated.
That's true. And worker-wise, it's not like they're the only company requiring stuff like that. You know,
they're not. I mean,
and here's the thing: it's obvious that they haven't actually been requiring, because like these wrestlers have been employed, this whole time without being vaccinated. So I mean, I don't know if it's just been like maybe the last straw was dry. You know what I mean? Maybe something happened and they're like, okay, we got to be done with all this crap. I don't know. I'm not in the room.
I have an opinion about that, and it's loosely based on nothing. But every time you turn around, somebody's out for another 2 weeks, and they're missing Raw or they're missing SmackDown because they were in close contact with somebody.
Yeah.
If you're an anti-vaxxer, of course you're gonna be in contact with somebody who possibly had it, or somebody
might have it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the other thing that a lot of people aren't thinking about. It's not just about the fact that they want them vaccinated. You could be taking shit home to your family unknowingly because you could be asymptomatic.
Yeah.
And again, not trying to be political about it, but I have family who has respiratory problems. I probably have respiratory problems. I mean, I know I'm battling a chest cold right now. Thank God I tested negative on my COVID test, but I'm like, it's a serious thing that has to be dealt with right now. And the only way to deal with it is by being assholes and making people actually do what they don't want to do.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with that. And it's not just, I do think that there may be a small amount of truth to the budget thing, just simply for the fact that Vince wants as much money as he can get. And so if you're not pulling your weight, you know what I mean? Like I get that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in all fairness,
but to be dropping this sheer amount of people, it spells to me out a lot more other things. And it's not just these 18 people. Apparently, there was a report that came out that there was another 10 people that were on the bubble.
Oh, yeah, it still are.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer talked about how he saw the list, and there was another 10 on that list. Also included people like Danny Burch and Timothy Thatcher. Timothy Thatcher has really kind of blown up lately in NXT. I remember when he first came in, I was like, "Who is this guy?" And then I saw him; he was like this amazing technical wrestler. I'm like, "This guy's going places."
Oh yeah!
And now we find out, he's on the bubble and he's in his 30s. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
Vince is really pushing this whole younger talent thing. He wants talent in their 20s and stuff. But it's like, who's gonna be working these kind of new people, these green talents, if you get rid of all your older veteran type people? You know what I mean?
Well, and that's one of the things. I don't disagree with what Vince is doing, because for at least 2 to 3 years, he picked up every indie superstar he could.
Well, that was Triple H. That was Triple H doing that specifically.
Yeah, but I'm like,
and I have stuff to say about that.
They could.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's at the point now where Triple H stepped down for a little bit. So, and I get it. They have an overloaded roster. There's a lot of talent that's not getting utilized on TV. You only have so many titles. And I understand what they're doing with NXT. And as much as I don't like the way it's being done, I get it. You want to do homegrown talent again, like WCW did and TNA did. And that made success. And that is a smart move. However, like you said, though, you still need the talent who's been there for a few years to be able to put over these young guys so that they have the training and the veterans to work with them, even on TV. Because if you get rid of because I know Johnny Gargano and Ciampa and stuff like that were on that list of people who could still get cut.
Yeah, he was talking about, he's like, Ciampa most likely safe. But, I mean, that's still not a guarantee. 2 weeks from now, we could see Ciampa off of fucking the roster. That's nuts to me to think.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, think of guys like Johnny Gargano. He's Mr. NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. And like I said, I get it. You don't want all the indie guys, which surprises me why some of the people who went to the main roster and kind of flourished or flourishing. But then I started to think about it, and a couple of the guys that I was considering them indie guys. They're not indie guys though, technically. And when you look at them standard wise,
Okay.
one of the biggest ones who's getting pushed right now from NXT is Damian Priest.
Okay.
I considered him an indie guy, but then I was like, no, he was in TNA and he was in Ring of Honor. Both of those don't technically count as indies. They're rival feds.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor might be a glorified house show for the most part, but there's still the place where a lot of good talent comes up and out of. And with Ring of Honor shutting down now, it's a lot of that talent's going to need to go places too. And I mean,
yeah, that's a whole nother thing that we've kind of been off air since all that happened with Ring of Honor getting shut down. That's wild stuff. So you have all of that talent kind of entering the open, talent pool.
Yeah.
And we are consistently month after month having droves of WWE talent entering that as well. And it's I get that, people are like, oh, now's the time to be a wrestler. There's so many options, but are there really?
I mean, not really though.
Exactly.
I mean, this is something I was telling you that I wanted to talk about on air, and this is a good time to actually put it in there. AEW is getting to the point where they picked up as much talent as they can hold right now too.
Yeah, they're gonna hit a tipping level where they're not gonna be able to really do much with any. You know what I mean? It's gonna happen. No. And then we're gonna start seeing releases from them because of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's gonna suck is people are like, well, AEW's not releasing people, and it's well, not yet.
Yeah, because they've only been around for a few years.
Yeah. And I mean, they're getting to a point where they've got a bloated roster, and you're not seeing some of these guys the way you should. And I'm not saying, because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying AEW is doing it wrong. They were picking up key people to fill in spots where they knew they needed it. Prime example was Christian Cage came in at a perfect time for AEW where Adam Page's wife was having the baby. He needed to step off TV for a month or so. Who the fuck do you put in Adam Page's spot to go up against somebody like Kenny Omega? Why not Christian Cage? He has the main event talent. He is a former heavyweight champion. There's not many other guys in the company who could have went up against Kenny Omega and done that. It's like when Brock beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. There's not many guys who could have stepped into that role, beat the dead man at his fucking game, and carried the heat and the hatred that Brock Lesnar got to turn around and just be like, well, I came, I saw, I conquered and kicked his ass and sent his bitch ass packing.
Yeah.
He's now 21-1. And it's people hated Brock for that. They wanted to murder him legit. And it's that's what he's there to do. These people in AEW, they're doing their jobs, but the talent pool is starting to get a little overfilling. And it's you got to start, people that I really want to see, sometimes you don't see it. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. But I mean, they were smart. They were picking up talent where they knew they were going to need it. They now have 4 shows going, and they know that you don't need to do this here to do this here. And you don't have to have a storyline here that continued over from here. Because if you're not watching this and you missed it, oh well, you missed it. We're going to do a whole nother set of storylines on the second show where WWE's oh, you missed Raw? Well, here, let us give you a 45-minute update about what you missed on Raw. That's 45 minutes you're taking away from other talent.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that I think I like about brand split is you could watch just Raw or you could watch just SmackDown and it wouldn't matter.
True.
You wouldn't have to be okay, I'm watching SmackDown, but I missed Raw. What the fuck is happening? I missed something. Right. That's the thing I like about brand split. And so I wouldn't be opposed to AEW doing that. I don't know what their actual plans are going to be for Rampage in the future, how they want to play it. But if they're going to be bringing in all this new talent, might not be a bad idea to make it somewhat of a brand split. So that they can really focus on a different set of talent than on Dynamite.
The only thing I would do to make it different than the WWE, do not bring in a second set of titles.
Okay, yeah.
Let the titles
maybe the champ can bounce back and forth.
Hell yeah. Between all the shows. Not just Dynamite and Rampage. He can go to Elevation and Dark, and titles can be defended anywhere. Because I'm sorry, you've got way too much, and they need to bring in, because this was actually something I was reading about the other day, and I liked the idea. So with Ring of Honor going under, there's a set of titles right now sitting on the Ring of Honor
shelf.
Kind of. I was trying to. The intellectual property for the titles is there, and it's something that AEW had teased, and it'd be really cool to see them utilize the Ring of Honor championships as the Ring of Honor championships, and that's the 6-man tag titles.
Oh yeah, okay.
And bring in Shane Taylor and his boys, and have them start defending the 6-man championship.
That would be cool.
AEW.
Think about this. Okay, we talked about before. You know how Tony Khan has deep pockets. What if he were to buy Ring of Honor and turn it into the 5th product of AEW? AEW's Ring of Honor.
The other day, and somebody had done like the do you remember that time WWE bought ECW?
Yeah.
And I was like, look, there's two different things with this though. AEW is doing a great thing with their product.
Yep.
If they buy AEW or ROH isn't a gimmick show.
No, it's not.
And I'm not saying ECW was a gimmick show.
But it was.
ECW had a loyal fan base that expected one thing, and that was Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
Now, I recently discovered a whole nother... Man, we're going off on way different tangents.
Yeah, that's cool.
I discovered the other day that when ECW was originally relaunched in 2006, the original plan wasn't to have a televised product. They wanted to do a virtual program, like Dark or Dark Elevation.
Yeah.
Because they knew they could get away with shit virtually that they couldn't do with New York State or any of the television censors breathing down their necks.
Yeah.
And they were like, if we put ECW here on the internet for people, we can have, and it was Shane. Shane wanted to bring back ECW. And he had a lot of the talent. Like, he called Tommy himself and he was like, this is what I want to do. And then Vince McMahon got his fucking greedy little paws into it because he realized bringing ECW back after like 2005's One Night Stand meant there was going to be a lot of this. And what Vince didn't realize is that the fans were going to be so loyal to their fan base and their guys that they didn't like what they started to see when, like, because you figure 2006 One Night Stand happened. Rob Van Dam beat John Cena. And that fucking place went crazy that night.
Dude, that shit was nuts.
Now, that had it went the other way, had John Cena beat Rob Van Dam in an ECW ring under the ECW banner for one night, I could almost positively guarantee you John Cena would not have gotten out of there unhurt or unharmed. They would have killed John Cena.
Yeah, or at least tried like that. There would have been riots in the streets, man. It would have been wild stuff.
So then they used that to relaunch ECW, and that's where it all just fell apart from there. The network was like, we have to have certain elements for the sci-fi people, and you can't do this.
That's why they had a zombie. That's why they brought in the vampires, Kevin Thorne and what's her name?
Ariel.
Yeah. Which I was fine with them, but the whole zombie thing was so stupid.
Oh, yeah, that was episode 1.
Yeah, and it's like, I love the Sci-Fi Channel, but come on. Like, that's...
Had they labeled that show any other initials, that show would have thrived.
Yeah.
I mean, it still launched careers. I mean, it launched careers like Kofi Kingston, CM Punk. It established The Miz as a solid performer. Him and Jomo. Guys like oh my God, I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder was over there, and he got his footing under him there. And then that was after, him and Kurt Hawkins had been the Edgeheads. They got separated during brand split, and Zack Ryder reestablished himself. I mean, like, this shit happens to people all the time. had that been anything else besides ECW, it would have been a flagship program and it would have ran for years.
Yeah,
years.
I think you're right. Yeah, almost just about anything else you could have called it. Kept it some sort of extreme type, but don't call it that because you wouldn't want to tie it in any way to ECW.
True.
But yeah, I do agree with that. And something that you had mentioned before about how the original plan was to put it on the internet. I think that's still an amazing idea. To have an internet exclusive brand. Like I love that. You could have an internet championship and everything. I've always liked that idea because I've always thought that that's what they should do with something.
I agree. The only problem with doing with something like ECW is now most of the originals are so far.
Yeah, I don't mean necessarily doing it with ECW.
Yeah,
I just mean like what, AEW should jump on that, and make an internet specific brand.
Imagine
I guess I assume is Dark and Dark Elevation, are they actually on television?
No, they're just on.
Just online. So I guess they technically do have that.
Yeah, and you could go with make a Dark Championship.
Yeah,
it's low level. It's what it is. What it is. Yeah. Or you can call it the Darknet Championship.
Dude, I like that.
Ooh, the Dark Web Championship.
There it is, the Dark Web Championship.
Boom. AEW, take my idea. WWE's done it for years.
It's true, man. It's true.
And like I said, we're digressing out of where originally we were talking about, and I'm glad that we're bouncing off each other like normal. But
yeah,
to get back to where we originally were going with this, I think that budget cuts are needed, and I understand that they want to do homegrown talent again in NXT, and I fully understand that. But like Josh said, you have to keep a few of the veterans to keep these younger guys. Like it was like Chris Benoit going to ECW. Yeah. Chris Benoit went to ECW to help this younger talent. He was a name that people could be like, "Oh shit, Chris Benoit's in ECW." Well, okay. Well, obviously it's going to be good if Chris Benoit's going to let himself be put over there.
Yeah.
And when Chris Benoit tragically passed away, guys like Matt Hardy went over there. Mark Henry was over there. The Big Show.
Yeah.
Kane. Christian. Mm-hmm. These guys put themselves where they need to. They know that sometimes the money is not going to be the same. And yeah, the cool ECW title went away and they went with the Platinum Phoenix, and a lot of people hated it, but it was still ECW, guys. It was still a wrestling show. And all you people are like, "Yeah, my God, oh, it's such a bad time for wrestling." No, we're living in the prime time for wrestling right now. There is so much just out there.
Yeah, the options are boundless, man. It's ridiculous how many options there are.
There's internet shows, there's television shows, there's mass product. There's literally a gimmick out there for everybody. You can name a really random ass gimmick. I guarantee you it exists somewhere. All you need to do is get your ass on the internet and search for it.
Right?
You want a guy who wrestles like he's the laziest man on earth? Look up Orange Cassidy. You want to see a blood-sucking vampire? Look up Kevin Thorne. You want to see an alcoholic who has freaking rage issues? Well, you have two people to choose from there.
Yeah.
No, three. Sorry. You have three.
You're watching one of them. What?
What's that?
I say, and you're watching one of them. What?
Four. I was going to say Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Sandman, and James Storm. But you're right. Johnny Storm adds the fucking list.
Yeah. And so you talked about budget cuts, and that's the reason that they gave and everything. And I want to kind of dive into why I think it's a little bit of bullshit that's what they're going with. So the same day as the releases happened, as they were all announced, that same day, WWE corporate released a press release for their third quarter earnings, and they apparently had quoting this thing, better than expected revenues, and it was one of the best quarters they've had in a year. It was like over 250 million in revenue. And so like obviously they're doing well, and they knew that they were doing well. Because this quarter ended at the end of September. So they had a whole month essentially of knowing this. And yet they still did these cuts. And the other thing, they just hired a brand new CFO with a base starting salary of $850,000, a $1 million signing bonus, and more than $5 million in WWE stock. I mean, what is that supposed to say to the fans and to the roster when they're claiming budget cuts, but then doing things like this and announcing things like this? What are your thoughts?
I mean, 100% guarantee you they don't expect the average fan to be catching on to shit like this though either. This is where a lot of like people will talk about the releases and the budget cuts, but they don't talk about like we try to look at it as an overall view where a lot of people are just like, oh, these people were released, it sucks. Really, their future endeavors will be bright. They can go anywhere. I mean, we've been in enough situations where we've seen guys come and go, and we pay attention to more of the business side of wrestling. And I get that you need a CFO, and I get bringing somebody on, but that's a lot of money for bringing somebody on. You're pretty much like it's like the whole Vince Russo situation. You're bringing somebody on and hoping that they're not going to fuck up your entire product.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, I got nothing with that one.
Like that one guy is getting like 5-6 talents worth of pay.
Well, the thing that I don't understand is too is like they're saying their revenue and shit is good. Yeah, their revenue and shit is decent right now, but now you're starting to cut these people who were drawing your revenue now though too. Like you cut your Bray Wyatt. There went his 5 T-shirts a month. John Cena's not really wrestling. There goes his like 7 T-shirts a year. Actually, I should have reversed that. Cena should have had 7 shirts in a month, and Bray Wyatt should have had 5 for a year. But I mean, no more Bray Wyatt masks are going out there. The Fiend title's been pulled from WWEshop.com.
Yep.
Guys like Edge. Edge doesn't get T-shirts like some of these guys do. So Edge has been back now for about a year. He's had like 3 T-shirts maybe in that time. And John Cena came back for 1 match and he got like 4. It's like, okay. So, I mean, again, though, it's all well and good that you're putting all this shit out there for people. But without us having money, we can't give our earned cash to the WWE. We're having to go other routes and go to other places for like merchandise and shit. And it sucks. But to bring somebody in at that kind of money, it's a slap in the fucking face of the fans and the talent that you're firing, being like, yeah, we had a great quarter. Budget cuts. Shit. Man. Did we say we had a good year? I mean, or a good quarter? I mean, we were okay. We were hurting a little bit. We had to make some hard choices.
Yeah. And a lot so I was reading an article about all these releases and all this stuff, and somebody brought up how when Triple H was running the show, essentially like running NXT and had a bigger say, this kind of stuff wasn't happening. But then all of a sudden, Triple H kind of goes away from that position he was in, and they don't really tell us why. And then Vince brings in Bruce Pritchard. And it's essentially Vince and him and what's the other guy's name? Nick Khan, right? They're like the brain trust now. Okay. And so it got me thinking, what does this mean for Triple H? Does this mean, is this like proof that he's on his way out of the WWE?
I don't know that he's on his way out of the WWE, but I know after whatever episode he had recently, like with his heart, I know he's definitely stepping back.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure within the last couple of years, Triple H has done. I mean, he's put on Saudi Arabia shows. He's fought Sting.
He built NXT.
He built NXT.
That's his house, man.
Him and Sean, man, they made that shit work down there.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you've got some other set of people who walk in there with their dirty fingers.
And they're just fucking mowing the whole thing down, man.
I mean, they changed everything. They changed the feel. They changed the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean,
completely.
Most of the people either got called up to the main roster or released at this point. You're looking at a whole new crop of people down there.
Yeah.
And now you're like, if you're over 30 and you're not being utilized, you're probably going to get a pink slip. And it's like,
yep.
Okay, think about it this way. You and I started wrestling at what age?
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
How old are we now?
37. Yeah.
37.
We'd be out the door.
We would be out the door, dude.
Yeah.
If we stuck with wrestling, guys that we had met and were dealing with when we were on the indie scene and working our way in there are making it to Ring of Honor and WWE and AEW. We've known some of these guys.
They were older than us.
Few of them were younger. Like definitely like Dalton. Dalton's younger than us.
Okay.
I think Shane's actually younger than us.
But like Bill, I know he's older.
Yeah.
And he's now on AEW. So
and it
finally making his way up.
It scares me because I'm like, if I'd had the drive, man, to be that guy, I guarantee you I wouldn't be in the shape I'm in now. I'd have probably slimmed out a little bit more and stuck with the business if I could have.
Yeah.
And to know that I could walk into a job any one of these days, and I mean, it goes for indie talent as well, because I mean, indie talent's dropping left and right too. Shows aren't running the way they used to.
It's true.
But it's scary. What do you do?
Yeah, there's not a lot to do. But this whole thing, whether it's the releases or the excuse of budget cuts while also touting this major revenue and bringing in this new CFO, it's gotten that whole buzz about is WWE being sold again, kind of floating around. And I was reading an article about, it was titled "Why is WWE firing everybody?" And one of the kind of they tucked in the middle of it, they kind of spell out, if you want to successfully sell something like WWE, you have to show that it has what they call appealing figures every quarter to attract a lucrative deal. And so getting rid of like the fat, so to speak, trimming out those contracts and so that you're not paying out as much, while also touting this, we had this great quarter, It really makes me think that this could actually be a thing that's going to happen.
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to use that to start talking about some of the talent that was released, because that actually brings up a good point. And I know I'm going to go slightly out of order for what you have.
That's okay.
I'm going to start with Eva Marie, though.
Okay.
Prime example. So WWE brought back Eva Marie. Yeah. And from the moment they even started running vignettes for her, people were like, what the fuck? Nobody wanted her back, really. I mean, yeah, she had some loyal fans who were like, yeah! But, I mean, for the general part, most wrestling fans were like, no.
Yeah.
No. And you figure she's only been back, granted, for probably about 6 months. And out of that, she brought Piper Niven to the main stage. And cool. And then all of a sudden, you know what? We need to trim the fat. Well, Eva Marie is not really doing much, and people don't like her. So, yeah.
It kind of says a lot that, like, they bring back Eva Marie. Eva Marie brings in this unknown to a lot of wrestlers, or to a lot of fans, with who's now being called Doudrop. But then Doudrop's getting like a push.
Oh yeah,
and Eva Marie just got tossed.
Oh yeah,
dude. I gotta be honest. When I heard all that, I was like, Eva Marie's gone.
Think about this though. This is something else me and you were talking about right before we started recording too. NXT UK.
Yeah.
NXT UK is most likely, like you said, going to get absorbed.
I think they're going to get rid of it.
Piper Niven was in WWE NXT UK.
Yep.
Perfect way to bring her in. Well, shit, we've got her in the States. Might as well use her somehow.
I think what's going to happen, we're gonna keep seeing cuts from the UK, and they might bring in some people from the UK.
Yeah.
And it's going to kind of whittle down that roster, and then one day it's just going to be like, okay, NXT UK is gone.
Yep. I can see that, and I mean it sucks for NXT UK.
Yeah.
But I mean it had a really good fucking run. Like there's not much you can do about it right now. Like it's one of those things where like it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah.
I mean Eva Marie. I mean she had a decent return. She came in. She garnished a lot of heat.
I'll say this for her, man. She built so much heat as a heel, like it worked in that aspect.
Yeah,
and it helped to push Doudrop.
And granted, for what a lot of people will say about her, I will say this: she got better in the ring. She wasn't worse.
But she wasn't worse, but she wasn't that much better. That's my opinion.
She was better.
That's my opinion. I don't think it was
way better than it used to be.
I just don't think it was enough to justify. I think her mic skills got better.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't. And again, this is just my own opinion. I don't think her in-ring skills improved enough to justify her being there. You know,
between that and the fans just really not liking her, because I mean they didn't. I mean that was enough to seal her deal.
Yeah.
Like I said, and I know I overstepped the boundaries earlier saying it, but I just hope she stays away from wrestling. She's not the personality I really want to see on TV.
She's doing a movie right now. Like she's been tweeting about it. She's in like this action flick. It's called Action Number One. It's this movie about, I think that's the movie that she's in, about these people who are trying to like steal Nick Cage's copy of Action Comics number 1. And she plays like a bounty hunter or something.
That is awesome.
I think that's the movie that she's in, that I was reading about. And so I'm like, I'll watch that movie. I'm not going to give a shit that she's in it, but
maybe
I'll watch that movie. You know,
maybe she'll actually be a decent actress.
Maybe, you know, so maybe that's what she'll lean toward if she's good enough. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. So we talked about Eva Marie. I have, you know, a lot of the superstars or wrestlers, whatever you want to call them at this point, kind of came out, and mostly the bigger name ones kind of came out, made statements about everything that happened. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of them, if you are down for that, my friend.
Dude, I'm always down.
All right, so I'm going to talk about your favorite, and that's Nia Jax.
Well, I'm going to take a nap now.
So she came out and put out this statement. This statement's kind of long, so I'm not going to like read the entire thing. But essentially, she talked about how she recently took a leave of absence from WWE for what she called a mental health break. She'd been working through some stuff, and she was supposed to come back November 15th, and so she wasn't ready, and she asked for an extension on her break. And she apparently never got a response about it. And then the next thing she finds out, she is being released. She claims that her vaccination status was never mentioned, which you would think if you are either it wasn't mentioned to her and maybe it still was part of it, but they just weren't going to say it, or it was mentioned to her and she just doesn't want to burn that bridge, and kind of like call them out on it. Those are, I feel like, are probably because like if it was mentioned and she didn't care about burning that bridge, she would just out them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? She would just be like, yeah, these motherfuckers canned me because I'm not vaccinated. You know what I mean? So, again, I feel like it's either she doesn't want to burn that bridge, which I could see. Maybe she hopes to come back sometime. Okay. Or they just legitimately didn't say anything about it. And whether it actually played a part or not, I mean, it's all speculation at this point because we don't actually know whether it played a part. It's very coincidental that several unvaccinated wrestlers got dropped this round. You know what I mean?
I mean, the other thing about Nia Jax, and I mean, not to harp on shit that, we've beaten to death with a fucking mallet before. For one, she's slightly disproportionate to other women in the ring.
Yeah, but there are plenty out there.
True.
That
but
are
unlike the others, she hurts people left and right.
That's the biggest problem, is that she continuously it does not work. She's not a good wrestler.
I mean, not to mention recently we had the big scuffle in the ring with her and Charlotte. I mean, and I mean, say what you will about Charlotte, but apparently she's still, sucking the teat of Vince McMahon and getting treated like fucking daddy's little girl.
Yeah, she should not be there.
And I mean, like I said, I mean, like, it is what it is. I feel bad that a lot of these people lost their jobs. Nia Jax isn't the type of people that I like, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was not. I'll be honest. She's one that I was not particularly upset that isn't going to be there anymore. It's like it's never really like, I never really want to celebrate somebody losing their job, but I'm going to celebrate the fact that I don't have to see her anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that works for me. If she goes and winds up on like Impact or something like that, whatever. I don't care. I don't really watch that. I feel
with her ties to the Bloodline and The Rock and all that, she'll be back in due time.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I don't see her. I can see her doing what she's got to do to come back. Nia Jax has been with that company for far too long at this point.
Apparently, Paige got on Twitter, posted a picture of her and Nia Jax, and captioned it with the hashtag Bring Back Nia. So she's apparently pushing for her to come back. And I'm just like, even if she's, even if the fact was that, the whole she's not actually a very good wrestler thing wasn't a thing, she has hurt too many other people by not doing what she's supposed to do properly, not doing, know? And so that alone, for me, says, nah, she needs to stay away. Get better. How about that? Get into a training ring and get better.
Yeah.
Then but putting other people, not just COVID-wise at risk, but physically at risk every time she's in the ring.
You know who I feel like was an equal comparative to Nia Jax, and I feel like nobody ever had the wherewithal to talk shit about her because I feel like there wasn't room to. Awesome Kong.
I think she was a better wrestler, though.
That's what I'm saying, though. She was a way better wrestler.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't have mic skills to save her fucking self at all. But nobody was ever like, that Awesome Kong cut a shitty promo because she legit scared the fuck out of you.
That's true.
Because she got in the ring and did what the guys did. And, I mean, that was just how it is.
And then, I mean, even just talking WWE, look at Tamina. Like, she's a bigger woman, and yet she can still perform.
Yeah.
Like, I've never really been impressed with her mic skills, but I've never cared because she performs.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to say this. With the new balance of intergender wrestling kind of making it pop up again, because I like intergender shit. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I would love to see Nia Jax come back, slightly more fit, slightly better in the ring, and start taking on the guys. I've won both the WWE Women's Championships. Why not be a Intercontinental Champion? go after China.
She could have been one of those like China. You know what I mean? She could have been like that next level where like you wind up in the men's Royal Rumble because like they used to do that once in a while.
Well, they did that with Nia.
Yeah, did they do that with her?
Yeah. She took out Kofi, and then when she got in the ring, Rey Mysterio hit the 619.
Okay.
Orton hit the RKO. Someone else did something to her.
Oh yeah, I remember that. But yeah, they made her look like a joke.
They made her look like a joke.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. It's like you want to like I remember when Awesome Kong when she came into WWE as Karma. And she just popped up in that men's Royal Rumble
and she just started
destroyed. That's what I'm talking. That's the kind of thing they should have done. And that actually brings me into my next thing. Booker T came out and was talking about how he thinks that Nia Jax made a mistake by wanting to be a diva. Because we saw that shift with her. Where she kind of like they started prettying her up and she stopped doing the whole like monster kind of gimmick.
Yeah.
And so Booker T came out and said that was a big mistake for her. That instead of being a monster, she wanted to go off and be this diva. But there's he kind of references people like Awesome Kong who like that's a true monster. No frills or anything like that, and they did awesome things. Not, no pun intended. She did awesome things in the ring.
Yeah.
And he kind of talked about how her no longer being a monster was kind of a waste.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, I think I liked her more when she was a monster. I still don't think she was very good.
I mean,
but
she wasn't, but
I didn't dislike her the way I do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I mean, think about it in aspects like this. Monster characters typically like 2, 3 come to mind. Taker, Kane, and Abyss.
Okay.
Somewhat Mick Foley. There were points in Kane's like later career after the mask takeoff and shit. He sucked.
It's true.
But he was a monster. And it covers the fact that he sucks. Because you can do certain things and destroy somebody and look strong still.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Kane chokeslammed somebody. Or, oh shit, Kane chokeslammed somebody off the fucking entranceway through a table. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Nia Jax just fucking hit a Samoan drop on somebody. Oh my god, Nia Jax just Samoan dropped that person onto a steel chair? What?
Yeah, like when she was feuding with Lana and she just kept on putting her through tables. Like that mentality is what her whole career should have been, really.
And the only thing that ruined that is that they did it week after week after week. They were burying Lana because of Rusev, and that wasn't fair.
Yeah.
Aside from that, putting her through a table every week, that was badass at the same time, though, because I'm like, how many fucking tables is she gonna go through?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I was like, is it gonna happen? Shit, yes, it is.
Monsters. Sometimes monsters are more than just one person.
That's true.
I.e., the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
When the Shield first debuted and they were doing the whole Hounds of Justice thing, and you didn't know who they were going after, they were a fucking force to be reckoned with, man. They would come down, surround the ring, and you were like, one of two things is going to happen. Someone's going to get their ass kicked, and someone's getting triple powerbomb.
Yeah.
And 95% of the time, it was a triple powerbomb through the announce table.
That's true. They tried to recreate that with Retribution, and it just didn't work.
They did. The thing is that the Shield had something that Retribution didn't. And that was when the Shield first came in, they had a stigma to them. And not a bad stigma. But they were just those guys.
But you could also connect with them. Like Retribution is just a bunch of dudes and girls in masks, and that's it. You couldn't connect with these characters like you could with the Shield.
The thing that really irritated me with Retribution was, me and you had talked about it when they first debuted. They had a great storyline that they fucked up all themselves.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're these guys who aren't being utilized, and we're not going to sign your contracts, but we're going to wrestle on your show?
Yeah.
They should have been interfering in matches and destroying other shit.
They should have never had sanctioned matches.
No.
unsanctioned matches where they just go in there and they just, you have like a fight or like they meet them out in the parking lot and there's like
kind of they should have been like a new version of the NWO.
Yeah.
We're going to show up and do what we want when we want, and you're not going to tell us how to do it.
Yeah. That could have really worked, but they chose not to go that route. And you were talking about how, monsters could be more than one person, like how with the Shield and stuff. And going back to the whole Nia Jax thing, they could have done that with her and Shayna. Shayna, even though she's not big, had that personality that she could have been that monster. They were pushing her that way.
Yeah.
And they could have been that monster team, who just destroys everything.
Well, she could have easily been like the loose cannon, essentially. Like
she's the Dean Ambrose.
Essentially. Yeah, I'm going to put you in this fucking move, and if you don't fucking tap out, well, guess what? I'm going to break your fucking arm.
Yeah.
And then,
and if that doesn't stop you, then my partner over here can.
And that's it. Imagine the two of them. There should have been no reason why both of them shouldn't have had a women's championship and the tag team gold.
Yeah.
Because then they're like, well, now what the fuck do we do? We've got these two women who are hurt. And I mean, you start losing some of your women on TV for a little bit, but then just imagine this one. You're like, oh shit, well, they've hurt everybody. We have no women left right now. And then Stephanie comes out and Stephanie's like, look, you guys got to stop this. You're hurting everybody. And then they attack Stephanie. And they put Stephanie down. And then 3 or 4 of the girls come out at the same time with chairs and kendo sticks. And they're coming out and they're fighting back now.
Yeah.
And it's
and it's the entire women's locker room versus them. Yes. And that could have been epic.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But this is where we see things from the outside perspective, and the WWE writers are like, well, shit, I've got to come up with this 6-month storyline. And yes, you do have to come up with a 6-month storyline, but guess what? That entire thing that we just put there could stretch out.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yes, now your women are coming back. They're fighting back. Now you've got 2 women's championships and a tag team titles that need to be defended. And if you were smart, at the time when those 2 were running, the NXT tag team titles didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
You could have had them hurting NXT talent too.
Oh, yeah.
Hurting.
Yeah, there could have been, if you needed to extend the time, there could have been a thing where it's okay, you are, I don't remember what show they were on. But let's say they were on Raw. They could say, okay, you're suspended from Raw. Then maybe they show up on SmackDown. Okay, you're suspended from, you're not allowed to be on SmackDown anymore. Then they just randomly pop up on NXT, and they could be doing things like that.
Dude, I would go totally different route with that. Imagine they bounce back and forth because the titles were defended on every show anyway. So one on Raw, they're fighting Natalya and Tamina.
Yeah.
Boom, they hurt them, and then people are like, "What the fuck?" They go to SmackDown. They take out the Iconics. They go to NXT. They take out Shotzi Blackheart and whoever she's tag teaming with, the flavor of the week for her.
Yeah.
Then they come back to Raw. Well, who do you got for us now? Well, we've got Liv and Ruby Riott. Okay. Yeah. And then Liv and Ruby Riott, they're fighting most of the match. Boom, 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 boom. And then, that trigger moment happens. Boom! Ruby Riott suffers injury during match on Raw. Liv Morgan out of action for a week due to concussion. They go to SmackDown. Who do we got over here this week? Well, we've got so-and-so. Okay. Well, it's a singles match this week. And then, Ruby or one of the 2 of them hurts the person. The other one comes in to save them at the end and, check on them. And boom, they snap on that person. They go back to NXT. And, no, they skip NXT that week, but then show up to Raw. And Stephanie comes out and she's like, we're running out of people for you guys. Yeah. We had to bring somebody from NXT this week because, our Raw tag teams are out of commission right now.
Yeah.
So then somebody from NXT they come out the curtain and they're like, oh, we ain't getting in the ring with them. And Stephanie's like, look, you're under contract with me. I tell you, you go down there and fight. You go down there and fight. Mm-hmm. I'll make this for the tag team championships at least. And then they go down there, and they're like this close to winning, and Shayna Baszler gets that moment where she gets that submission locked in, snaps a fucking arm again.
Yeah, there's a lot of good opportunities that were just kind of thrown. Like, they could have done things like, okay, there's a tag team match happening. Okay, has nothing to do with them, but they come out and destroy everybody in the ring anyways.
Why
you
not?
Know what I mean? Just because.
Also, that's what Retribution should have been doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. A big match is happening. Oh, there's a title match happening. Bam, bam. They just come out, destroy everybody, and walk away.
Yeah.
Being like, well, what the fuck just happened? Like that's exactly the kind of stuff that should have been happening. So, but speaking of people in masks and leather, I want to talk a little bit about another person who was dropped out this time around, and that's Karrion Kross.
I know, man. We're off on a real tangent. Hour and 11. We've barely talked about the tale that got released.
Hey, that's okay. I like it. I like it nonetheless. So Karrion Kross, again, got released, and then he put out this tweet with this kind of cryptic video, and it tagged with "I heard you all the entire time." I don't know if you saw this thing.
No.
Yeah, it was real cryptic. I don't know where it's going. I don't know if he's got something lined up, outside of here.
Maybe that was just his way of apologizing for the shit.
Maybe it's possible, but I'm intrigued to see where it goes. But that's not the only tweet that he put out. He also put out a thing trashing the gimmick, essentially, that they gave him when they pulled him up to the main roster. Specifically, I think it was the helmet that he kind of threw some shade at. Somebody had put out a tweet, like a random fan or whatever, saying, "I wonder if Kross would give me the helmet." It's funny. And so he commented on their tweet saying, "Nobody wants that piece of shit, brother." So it's obvious he was not a fan of any of this, and we made fun of when he came out looking like a fucking gimp, like fucking Kinky Kelly from fucking Clerks 2, man. It was ridiculous, to say the least.
I mean,
I don't blame him for not being into it.
No, and I mean, the thing is we saw what Karrion Kross was in other promotions.
Yeah,
he was a monster.
Yeah,
Killer Kross.
We just talked about monster characters, and he could have been one of those.
He easily could have been.
Yeah.
He's big. He has that physique.
Yep.
When he was in TNA, he used to do the whole marking the shit with X's and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I get it. And WWE missed a big opportunity with that.
Apparently, they had been in the works of another gimmick change for him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. In this one, Kross, he was supposed to be more of a psycho, but calm and cool.
They had him dressing nicely with the gloves.
Yeah, but apparently, the report says that he was still going to have the helmet, which I'm like, why?
So somebody saw that helmet somewhere and was like, $100 we can get this on TV.
Yeah, and I think they're like, we spent money on that fucking thing. He's wearing that helmet. You know what I mean?
So, while we're talking about Karrion Kross, so with Scarlett offering to start an OnlyFans, do you think we'll see the helmet make an appearance in her OnlyFans?
Dude, if it doesn't, I would be very disappointed.
You think he kept the helmet?
I mean, maybe.
If Vince wants it back, I would literally just take a steaming pile of shit in it. I would just drop it.
And then just leaving it next to his office door.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. You box it up and you put it in a bag so that smell's going to stay in there really good.
It has to be a trash bag because that's a thing that they do. Yeah,
What do you think?
Yep. And then, just mail it to him. That'd be hilarious. What is this? Oh, motherfucker. But yeah, so Karrion fucking Kross, man. He apparently had a bunch of backstage heat as well. After the repackage. My assumption is that he was just pissed off, really.
I mean,
he didn't
he's not
like this
keep
gimmick.
his mouth shut at all. So he probably voiced his opinion and pissed someone off.
Yeah. I really don't. I really think that he wasn't happy about any of it. And I don't. I mean, dude, I wasn't happy about it. I don't even like the guy, and I wasn't happy about it. Like,
I just wish he would have. I know I really shit on him, but it's because when he came to WWE, I didn't see the potential.
Yeah.
Like, they extinguished his flame, and I was like, he ain't gonna be. I said it as soon as I heard he was gonna debut over in WWE. It's like, he's gonna be nobody.
It's true.
Boom.
Yeah, I mean, they started like he had a good run in NXT.
He had a great run in NXT.
That's where he should have stayed. But
the next one I kind of want to talk about, I want to talk about Lindsay Dorado.
Okay, but real quick, you had mentioned Scarlett and and how she's starting this. Well, she's talked about, she's put out the idea of starting an OnlyFans, but it's not the only thing apparently that she's got going on. She put out a tweet saying, "I've been a free agent for less than 24 hours, and I just got a magazine cover, and I'm now discussing potential clothing lines." So it's like she's already out there doing stuff, and it makes me wonder: is she even going to come back to the world of wrestling? You know what I mean?
Other feds don't stop you from doing shit.
That is true.
I mean, look at Impact. When Jeff was over there, Jeff was allowed to explore his musical talent.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. But I could see, because I mean, I'll be honest, they didn't do much with her anyways. I mean, really?
No.
So I could see her kind of being like, well, I did my thing. I was in the E. I could go off and do all this other stuff now that I've got the name. The notoriety and stuff, and maybe she'll dip her toe back in, maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, Lindsay Dorado, huh?
Well, I only want to talk about this one because I mean, like we were really dipping into time on this one.
It's true.
But this is the next big one where like big shit has come off of this one. He's starting shit. Like things are. So for those of you who don't remember who Lindsay Dorado was, he was part of the Lucha House Party. They were those three Spanish wrestlers who got saddled with a shitty gimmick of coming out yelling Lucha, 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 Lucha. And everybody was supposed to love him, but most people just forgot about him. And so
I feel like it was like it felt like they're trying to capitalize on things like Latino heat and the Mexicools, and they wanted to bring that vibe back. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it did not quite capture the same thrill as those previous types of stables.
No. But I mean, all that aside, so he got released, and now months ago,
No, this was in 2018.
Oh, is that when that happened?
Yeah, this was in 2018.
So in 2018, Superfan Izzy, that's right, Bailey's number one fan, was booked in a wrestling match with Leva Bates. I don't remember who she was taking on, but in the match, she takes a chokeslam.
Yeah.
And Lindsay Dorado feels that he has the appropriate means to speak out and say, that's dumb.
Oh, yeah, he was like, I do not support this. This is ridiculous. All kinds of shit he was saying, yeah.
So my thing is, I know in Japan it's a whole different culture and stuff like that, but kids wrestle over there all the time. I found out this is a huge honor for kids to get in the ring and do the shit they do.
Yeah,
I've seen the Young Bucks super kick a little kid.
Yeah. We've seen kids wrestling on the indies training with their parents and stuff. True. And taking bumps, so it's not like it's something new.
No, it's not. And that's the thing. It's so does that mean you're going to criticize Matt Hardy for putting his young boys up in the ring and letting them have their fun? Because this is the time when impressionable kids are learning that shit. Yeah. And then when they're in their late teens and starting to really be like, maybe I do want to be like my dad and wrestle or be like my mom and wrestle, they're not fighting everything they've learned over their course of their life because it's second nature to them.
Yeah.
in Izzy, I mean, she really worked her ass off to get to where she was. It's not like she was just some hopeless kid in the ring taking a choke slam.
Yeah.
Which, in all fairness, the choke slam is not the hardest bump to take anyway.
No, it's not.
It's literally make sure your chin is tucked, kick your fucking feet out as far as you can, land as square on your back as you can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, unless somebody was out to hurt her, she's pretty much protected.
Yeah.
So then, flash forward to a few days ago, he gets released, and Izzy's dad comments on Twitter, best wishes to Lince Dorado in his future endeavors from the family.
And it is one of the best, like, low-key, sarcastic things I've seen in a while, and it was hilarious to me.
Me and you had a slight debate about it, and how, like, it's not, I mean, it's a dick move. But
I'll be honest, he was being the dad was kind of being a dick, but not unwarranted. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not unwarranted. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I get it. But at least he was being polite about it.
Yeah, he wasn't it was kind of like poking fun at him. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's
but
really
while
what
at
he
the
was
same
doing.
time still being genuine.
Yeah,
best of your few. At least he wasn't like, hey, no talent jackass. Congratulations, you got fired.
It's like anytime I'm on like Facebook or Twitter and I'm like having a fucking like fight with a troll or some shit, and I want it, and like I'm at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I hope you have a wonderful day. It's the exact same type of vibe.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
So then Lince Dorado fucking snaps on Izzy's dad. There's this whole exchange between the two of them. Yeah. And Lince Dorado is like, well, I'm on my way to this jiu-jitsu competition. So I'm going to buy you a ticket and I'm going to pay for your parking. And if you really want to have these words and throw fists, you come see me.
Yeah.
Which is the most childish thing you can say.
It really is.
I mean, like, oh yeah, I thought you were going to talk shit. Well, why don't you come down here and talk shit to me then?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, seriously.
You were in WWE for years, and the most you did was work a 3-man tag team. You've never seen tag team gold.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
that was part. See, that's how unmemorable they are.
It's true.
Did they hold tag team gold?
I'll be honest. Until this release thing went up, I forgot that they were a thing. You know, because I just didn't care.
I mean, I'm just like, whatever. But to be that guy who's going to call out someone's dad and be like, come see me. Let's go outside.
And then, and the thing is, even though we may not care about them, they have a fan base.
Yeah.
And that rabid fan base went after this guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's where it got really out of hand, was all these, like, Izzy's dad deactivated his Twitter account. And
he put out an apology and then deactivated his account. And I'm like, fuck that. I would not have apologized. You want to deactivate your account because people are like hounding you? That's one thing. But that guy did not deserve an apology. Fuck that noise.
Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who Lince Dorado thinks he is, because, I mean, he's kind of, in my opinion, and I'm going to generate some heat with this one. He's Colin Delaney all over again. Yeah. Ooh, you were in the WWE, but you were a fucking enhancement talent. You're a nobody. Nobody fucking cares about you.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have the WWE on your resume now. So does the Brooklyn Brawler.
So does the Gobbledygooker.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's like, congratulations, man. You're somebody. You made it. Out of everybody else, you fucking made it. Good for you. Do you really feel good threatening a fucking guy from, like, thousands of miles away and being like, oh, I'll beat you up?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, either way it happens, his daughter is still going to train. She's still going to become a professional wrestler at some point. And at some point, I guarantee you're going to share a locker room with her. And now there's going to be fucking tension there because you're a fucking dick.
Either that, or she's going to prove that she is far better than he ever was. And it's just going to make me laugh.
The thing is, Izzy already has a really impressive fan base, man. She's kind of like superhuman in that aspect that, like, people flock to these people, man.
Oh, yeah, man.
We have a fan base, and we were barely on the independent scene.
That's true.
I mean, we have the blue balls of the independent scene, man. We were there, but we weren't in.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it just pisses me off because it's like, so what? You wear a fucking mask. People don't know your identity when you take it off. Good for you. Guess what, though? He fucking shows up and stabs you with a knife. You're still gonna fucking bleed.
Yeah, seriously.
Ooh, you're a jujitsu guy. A fucking gun's still gonna shoot you in your chest, dumbass. Piss him off. Find out what happens.
Yeah.
Catch me outside. How about that?
How about that? All right. So there's a few other people that were released. I want to first off say, is there anyone specifically you want to talk about?
After those few, not really.
Okay.
Like B Bunny or B.
Oh, B-Fab?
B-Fat. I didn't even know who the fuck that was.
Yeah, she's the one female from Hit Row.
And then there was like Grand Metalik. I feel bad because like he's talented, but again, didn't know much about him.
But we have so one we did not talk about was Keith Lee. I mean, we talked about him up at the beginning. We really didn't talk much about him during as we have been kind of breaking down people. I found out as I was kind of like doing research and stuff for this that apparently he had what this article is calling perceived attitude issues that may have contributed to his release. But the thing is, the thing is, just like with Karrion Kross, Keith Lee was getting repackaged. Yeah. Okay. He got this whole Bearcat thing. They started off, it was Keith Bearcat Lee, and then they just dropped his first name. He was just Bearcat Lee. Something that a lot of people assumed was his idea. Because for anybody who doesn't know, the original Bearcat, whose last name I cannot remember, was like the first black champion, I think, in wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. And so everybody was under the assumption that, he must have, asked for this to pay tribute to this lineage. Okay. No, he came out and said that this was not something that was what he wanted to do. This was all creative.
Well, I mean, this is after he also sat at home for months.
Yeah, a long time.
You wonder why a man like him has an attitude problem. Yeah. Well, I mean, you make him sit at home for months. Now he's missing time on the road. Him and his wife are putting shit off to the side. And, I mean, I get why he's pissed. He's a talented dude. Like, I didn't know much about him from NXT. I started learning more about him when he came to the main roster.
Yeah.
And I was instantly impressed with Keith Lee, man. Like, he was...
I mean, when I was watching NXT for a bit there, he was like a main staple there.
Yeah.
And, like, he really impressed me. I remember I would talk to you about him because, like, just how impressed I was. And then I was, like, super pumped that he was getting pulled up. But then it was like, okay, he drops the title, and then they did shit with him.
Yeah.
Well,
it's funny because I found out recently him and Shane used to tag team, Shane Taylor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I guess they were some tag team together. Nice. And there's a lot of hints that, like, he's either going to go find Shane and come back to being in Shane's team of people or something.
That would be cool. Dude, man, come on, AEW. AEW's Ring of Honor. Let's get that rolling. You can get Keith Lee over there with Shane Taylor.
I'm just saying, man, Ring of Honor, if they can get I know they're dealing with some financial issues right now and stuff like that.
No, Ring of Honor truly making budget cuts.
Yeah.
That's
I will say this. The one thing that really saddens me about Keith Lee being gone is that we also lose Mia Yim in the process.
Yeah, Mia Yim was a fantastic female wrestler, just a fantastic wrestler in general. And the fact that they just butchered her rise up to the main roster.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, she could have been a champ up there.
She could have been a champ. She's one of those women who deserved a championship and didn't get to see it.
Yeah. The mishandling was ridiculous with both of them. I don't know. It just bothered me how bad they did with that. And the other person I want to talk about is Ember Moon.
Oh yeah, we really
Ember Moon is a fantastic talent.
Listen, again, NXT, I didn't know much about her. I didn't learn about her until she came up to Raw.
She was just like Keith Lee, where as I was watching NXT, she was there and was impressing me. Yeah.
She's one of those wrestlers who I really enjoyed the gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, she's the she-wolf, and like she had the unique, very unique look. She had a very unique move base. Like I said, her finisher is one of a kind.
Dude,
that off the rope flipping stunner, like that could fucking hurt somebody if not done right.
Yeah.
One of her major problems was I know she got like injured a couple times, and then like her slight weight gain, and like they fucking shit on her for that. And they didn't think that she was over with the fans as much anymore. Which, granted, you're muddying up your fucking women roster on Raw and SmackDown. So yeah, of course you're gonna, disassociate. The fans choose who they want to get behind. And WWE's like,
that's true.
No, we don't want you behind that person. We want you behind. Here we go. You ready for this? This beer is Roman Reigns, and this cell phone is Seth Rollins. And the fans are like, we want the cell phone. And WWE's like, yeah, but you really want this beer. And the fans are like, fuck no, give us the cell phone. WWE's like, but this beer will quench your thirst. The fans are like, fuck the beer, give us the phone. And WWE's like, okay, look. You might not be able to call your mom on this beer, but this beer won't go anywhere for a little bit. This phone's going to die. It's at like 10%. And the fans are like, yeah, we'll take the phone. And WWE's like, okay, look, we get it. Here's this paper cup with a string attached to it. This is Roman Reigns. We repackaged him. It can do the same thing that phone can do. And you're like, nah, I can check my emails on that phone.
Oh, that's great. That was a great little tangent, and I loved it so much. I don't know how to spin it back to Ember Moon from that, but apparently some big name people have kind of come out in like essentially in surprise that Ember Moon was released, and have kind of talked about how it's kind of a big loss to have such a talent. We had Booker T and Eric Bischoff both came out in support of Ember Moon and talking about how they're both either shocked, disappointed in the fact that this is happening, because she's a workhorse, and it's one of the most talented ones that they had over there. Yeah. And they both essentially said the same kinds of things about her, which I was like, it's nuts to me that I'm pretty sure she is one of the ones that is over 30 as well. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the whole, she's over 30. Her gimmick isn't that pretty girl gimmick that Vince seems to like. You know what I mean? And so maybe they're just like, we'll get rid of her. Which is a bummer.
I get it, but it still sucks, like you said, man. And it really does.
Yeah.
I mean, Ember is one of the ones that, like, she deserved way more than she got.
Oh, absolutely. And earlier, remember I was saying that there was one person who on their Twitter made it, when you look back, made it seem like she already knew. This was Ember Moon. I went back, I was looking at her Twitter because I was like, well, did she put out a statement or anything like that? And I looked at her tweets from the 2 days prior to the release. She put out a tweet that just says, when life gives you lemons, get a Kirby. And it's like a picture of her holding a Kirby doll. Now, on surface level, this may seem like nothing, just a random picture. It's fun. But after everything that happened, the whole, when life gives you lemons thing, at that time, it makes it feel like, well, maybe she's just she's making the best out of a situation and kind of hinting at it. And I could be wrong. But then the following day, she posted a tweet that said, I have been broken, but I am gluing together the pieces. And then there was some song lyrics or something after that. And I'm like, and that was the day before the releases were announced. And if everybody was told via email, I would assume it was within the 2 days leading up to that.
So, yeah.
And so it makes me wonder, was she kind of hinting to her fans at what was coming? You know what I mean? I don't know. It was kind of weird to go back and look at those because it's just to see that it was like okay. But we talked a lot about the talent that has been released, and all the things that they've kind of come out and said about it. But they're not the only ones who've been talking about these releases coming out. There have been a lot of the people in other companies who have been talking about that.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna save the AEW stuff for the end of it. I'm gonna start off with Mick Foley actually came out and made a statement about everything that was going on. He was apparently just baffled. I gotta say, I love Mick Foley, and he's been kind of putting the E and Vince kind of on blast lately. He's put out, I remember not that long ago, it might have been one of the other set of releases, I don't remember, but he was kind of like, it was something like I don't know what the hell they're doing kind of a tweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, he put out, let me see if I can find it. He put out this thing on Facebook, says, it's never pleasant to hear that people have been released from their contract in WWE, but some of yesterday's releases are downright baffling. I believe there's a silver lining in that there has never been a better time to be a wrestler with so many different opportunities out there. So, and we talked about that, how right now is a great time, with all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like even a veteran, who is seen a lot in the business, to baffle somebody like that who has been around for decades, that says a lot. You know what I mean? To me, it says that Vince is doing unexpected things, and I don't think that's a good thing.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
It's just, it bottles, because like you said, like he had posted a tweet a while ago that said like, if he was a WWE superstar today, like he was years ago, he's not sure he'd go to the WWE.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean,
yep.
And I mean that says a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, Mick Foley wrestled everywhere. He wrestled WCW. He wrestled in Japan. I mean, he wrestled for the E. He wrestled for ECW. And I mean, you never hear him say anything bad about any of those places. I mean, he left an ear in Japan, and he doesn't ever talk shit about Japan. He's
true.
like, shit happens. He got launched off the top of Hell in a Cell. He damn near gave his life for the fucking business. And you never hear him go, Vince McMahon made me go up there and do that. No, he went up there and did that because of his love for the fans. Yeah. Him and Undertaker wanted to do something in Hell in a Cell that nobody would ever see before or after that. And I mean, that moment is still talked about to this day.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, Mick Foley is one of those minds that like his perception of the business is usually spot on. And I mean, he's possibly one of the guys who knows Vince better than Vince knows himself. And for him to be confused by what Vince is doing right now, it really let that fucking sink in and marinate. Like, Vince is doing shit for what reason? Because he's getting old and ready to sell the company, and now like all these people are suffering because of it. Because that's not what we're used to seeing as fans. Like,
yeah,
but Vince doesn't have anybody in the company right now who wants to take over the company for him either. So it's understandable.
Maybe if he did things better and treated people right, he would have somebody.
Maybe.
I feel like Triple H would have. At one point, I do believe that could have been a thing, but Vince is too. He won't give up any sort of power while he still owns it. No. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem.
That is the biggest problem.
So apparently, Impact star Jordan Grace also came out and said something about the release. She put out a tweet. It said, it's very simple. Watch and spend your money on something else. It's just fucking ridiculous at this point.
Yep.
And I think she has tapped in to what so many of us are feeling right now.
Yeah.
As she's somebody on the outside and she's seeing, she's a fan of wrestling, obviously, she's not just a wrestler, she's a fan, but to to see what they're doing to these people, and I'm sure she's friends with some of these people too. I wouldn't be surprised to see what she's doing or what they are doing. Yeah, it is fucking ridiculous. And she, like I said, she has tapped into what we are all feeling and has just put it out there, and it's perfect. It's a perfect statement.
Yeah, and it's really crazy because, I know Jordynne Grace in her own rights is frustrated with a lot of the shit that's going on in wrestling around her character as well. She wants to keep that forbidden door open for her so that she has more potential talent to wrestle and shit. And they're keeping the door closed for people who aren't benefiting from it, who aren't Kenny Omega essentially, or the Good Brothers, or the Elite. And it's stupid,
which is such a wasted opportunity too.
It is. I mean, kudos to Jordynne Grace though for speaking her mind and not allowing people to fucking silence her. I love Jordynne Grace. I think she's a fucking amazing talent. I remember when I first started figuring out who she was, I started sending you some of her shit and was like, dude, she's a beast.
Yeah, absolutely. She's fucking awesome. She is. She's one of my tops, for the females right now. I like her quite a bit. So AEW, there's been some stuff going on there. Apparently, they kicked off Rampage this past week, which was the night after everything happened. And who was it? I think it was Max Caster.
The rap.
Yeah, where he just slammed everything that was going on over there and poked fun at Daniel Bryan, saying essentially something like about his stepfather or his father-in-law, getting rid of all these people. Who is John Laurinaitis? I did not realize. Apparently, that was a thing. Apparently, I never caught that before. That I thought it was father of the Bellas.
For those of you who don't get to see the behind the scenes, Josh texted me like 2 days ago, and he goes, "Did you know John Laurinaitis is the Brie and Nikki's father,
stepfather? Yeah,
stepfather." I was like, "Yeah." I thought this was common knowledge at this point.
I don't know how I missed that, man.
I can only picture Josh being like, "What the fuck, bro? You gotta tell me this shit."
I'm wondering if if it was in my brain at one point and then it's just I just didn't care enough and it just went away. Because I'm like, I don't remember that. But
you remember that time we opened off the ropes and I did my John Laurinaitis impersonation?
That was pretty funny.
I was like, people power.
But apparently Caster had said that he ends careers faster than Daniel Bryan's father-in-law is what he had said, which I think, I'll be honest, that's kind of hilarious.
From what I understand, he also took a shot specifically at Brie in the rap.
Did he? Okay, I didn't actually. I just kind of saw the article about it. I didn't listen to the whole thing.
I didn't listen to it either, but I had seen an article where Max Caster got in a lot of shit backstage because he straight took a shot at Brie.
Yeah.
Daniel told him, go out there and do whatever you want to do. Which is don't mention my wife or kids. And he fucking threw the wife right in there.
Gotcha. But that's not the only thing that we got from AEW when it came to the releases. Tony Khan has put out a couple of tweets and comments. He put out one that says, the wrestling business constantly changes, sometimes for the better, sadly, sometimes for the worse. I believe AEW's done much more good than bad for wrestlers and fans in our few years as a company. Which, it's a soft jab at WWE. I think just kind of trying to tell people, we're not going to follow the same path. Really, we're here and we're not going to be, you don't have to worry about that with us, at least for now.
It's a respectful jab at the WWE at the same time. They're not shitting on the WWE because they know right now WWE is the predecessor. WWE holds the fucking monopoly of wrestling in their hands. And AEW's like, look, we get it. You're big, you're bad, and you're tough.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it right.
Yeah. So that was his tweet. Okay, simple. He was plugging the show at the end of it. It was please make sure you watch. But then he had an interview on PW Torch, Pro Wrestling Torch with Wade Keller, and he kind of weighed in a bit more about it. He went on to say, every time they cut 20 people, let's just say it's terrible because every time someone loses a job, it's affecting them and the people around them. Some of these people might want to leave, but in general, most probably did not. It's terrible when anyone loses their work, and I feel for them. Each and everyone counts. I'm going to take a ballpark number, and I'm not trying to make light of everything, but everyone counts, and this probably not the exact amount, but every time they let's say the ballpark of 20 people go, I think there have been in general 1, 2, or 3 people in there that I am interested in snatching up. They keep doing these mass layoffs, and each time I find a few people and the company gets a little stronger and stronger. I do see a few in this wave. I don't want to say who or when I would be interested in them, but there are a few interesting people they let go, and the same goes with the last wave and the wave before that and before that. Each wave, there's a few interesting ones, and this was no exception. So it's obvious that he's keeping an eye on all this stuff. You know, he's a smart businessman. He knows. Who do you think he's keeping an eye on from this wave? I want to get your thoughts on that.
I guarantee you it'll be Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, Mia Yim.
I saw some rumors, obviously just rumors, that one of the people on that list is Nia Jax. And I really hope it's not. Like, I just really hope it's not. There are far too many other better people that could take that spot.
If it's Nia Jax, she better show up over there and impress me then.
Yeah, that's true too.
Show me why you deserve that spot more than like an Ember Moon.
Yeah, Ember Moon is who I am like, she should be over there. You know?
I mean, I will say this, like,
or at least in like, because like we always go to AEW, you know, like they could do Impact. Impact's not as good, but like maybe getting some of these better people could push them to a better height. You know what I mean?
I think what AEW, if Impact Wrestling wants to turn around what they're doing right now, first off, you need to strip a lot of the gimmickiness away from it.
Yeah.
You need to put a serious overhaul into your product. Because they come off very gimmicky and dumb to start.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, ooh, like they're the Eugene of professional wrestling. You know that deep down they can be serious and have a good product. But so much shit has happened. They have been spanked and belittled and fucking spit on. And they're like the redheaded stepchild nobody wants to love anymore. And they had a very good chance of turning that all around when Billy Corgan threw his head into the ring. Yeah. And they were like, nah, Billy, go home. We got this. We're Impact. And that was a mistake all its own.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to turn it around, signing some of the talent WWE has lost lately, like a Bray Wyatt, a Braun Strowman, the Ember Moons, those are the people who could really help elevate that talent back up with the talent who you've already got. Yeah. Imagine Jordan Grace versus Ember Moon.
Dude, that match would be
that match would be badass.
Yeah, it would.
Braun Strowman taking on someone like Mad Fulton.
Yeah.
2 big titans.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And imagine someone like Bray Wyatt getting back in the ring with someone like Eric Young.
That would be interesting.
Eric Young Insanity would have been a great matchup for someone like the Wyatt family, but it never happened. At least not on the main stage.
It's true. But
so now that Eric Young is leading Violent by Design, why not put him up against someone like Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
Or Wyndham.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much everything that I have for all this. Do you have any final thoughts on all this stuff that we've been talking about?
I think we've definitely delved into that far enough.
Okay. So, yeah, that's all the release stuff we have. We had a whole show just on that. I knew it was going to take us a bit to do that, but I want to finish off the show talking a little bit about something else that's coming up, and that is Survivor Series. They have announced the teams officially for this, and I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about it, maybe see what you may be what else you may be hoping for on Survivor Series.
So, one of the big things about the Survivor Series that always makes me laugh is that they always do brand supremacy.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, it's a battle of Raw versus a battle of SmackDown. They can't really do that this year. Most of the guys who are on the Raw and SmackDown teams were just recently drafted to Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you're a Raw guy, but you just went to Raw. You're more of a SmackDown guy at this point.
It's true. But they'll still do that.
I know. It's still going to be I'm just saying it's going to be like kind of like you're wearing a Batman t-shirt, but really you're voting for Superman right now, even though deep down in you're a Batman guy.
Yeah.
Like,
so do you want to talk about the women's match or the men's match first?
You know what? Let's talk about the boring ass men's match first.
Okay. So Team Raw we're going to start with them. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio. What are your thoughts on this as a team? I wasn't super impressed.
I'm not impressed. I want to know why guys like Ricochet aren't in this match.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ricochet would have been so much better than Dominic Mysterio, or honestly, take Rey out, but
did you, real quick off topic, did you see that freaking kick that Ricochet took from Drew McIntyre?
Yes.
Dude, mid-flip.
Right
in the face. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, anyways. But yeah, I was not impressed with this team.
I get the whole Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
They're the top three guys on Raw right now, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm like...
And I love, you know me, Rey Mysterio is one of my favorites. But I'll be honest, I didn't want either of the Mysterios in this team.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That's why I said let's talk about the men's match first, because I feel like this one right now is low of comparison to the women's.
Yeah.
And the SmackDown men's lineup is?
The SmackDown lineup, which I think is much better overall. Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Sami Zayn, and Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss at his side.
Yeah, it's definitely a much better lineup.
It's a better lineup overall, I think. It's still not like insanely great or anything, but it's better. You know what I mean? Yeah, budget cuts, you know? Now, I don't know where, like, maybe, because, I haven't watched it in a little bit, but maybe, like, where are people like Randy Orton? What's he doing?
Orton, I believe, is a tag team champion right now with Riddle, which means he'll be in the tag team match.
Okay, so he's the champ. Okay, because I was like, I would love to see people like an Orton. You know what I mean?
Okay, so why not replace Dominic and Rey with the Street Profits?
There you go. That would be fantastic.
Or the Viking Raiders.
Dude, either one I think would have been a far better choice. And I would have been far more like interested in the team. Because like you said, those first three, I'm like, yeah, that's solid. Okay. But then I was like, and I love Rey Mysterio, but I'm like, it just doesn't fit for me. It just didn't. It's not what I wanted to see.
I understand that with Rey comes Dominic, but then again, though, why either of them? Then?
Yeah. Like
there is why not someone like Mace or T-Bar?
Yeah. Like there's plenty of other
monsters.
Yeah, there's plenty of other options. It didn't even need to be a tag team, though. Because like SmackDown's team doesn't have a tag team. I mean, technically you have Happy Corbin and Madcap, but Madcap isn't actually on the team.
I was gonna say he's not on the team though, so that's
he's different. Just there with Corbin because that's he does that. But yeah, I don't know. A part of me just doesn't see logistically Team Raw winning. Just maybe it's just my own bias because I don't like the team overall. But who knows? It's interesting. You got King Woods on there, who they got a nice push going for him for Xavier. Seems like Drew McIntyre is getting a little bit more of a push again, which I like to see. And I always like seeing Jeff Hardy and things.
Dude, Jeff Hardy's one of my favorites, so
it's always nice to see them utilize him. Sami Zayn, I mean, if he's in the ring with either of those three that we talked about on the other team, they'll put on a good little show there for a bit. Yeah. So that's nice.
Especially Owens. I mean, they've been right in that feud for years.
And I don't really care that much about Corbin. I've never cared about him.
Corbin is
whether he was Baron Corbin, King Corbin, Happy Corbin, I've never cared. I've never cared.
I will say this. I think Corbin is a better wrestler than he is given credit for.
Oh, he's a good wrestler. I just never cared.
I know.
Yeah.
I didn't care for him after they cut his hair and everything off.
Yeah.
And I get like he had a massively receding hairline and shit like that, but I'm like, he doesn't look as menacing anymore.
No, he doesn't.
It's like every time you get a guy who has a unique look to him, they're like, oh shit, he's really unique. Bland him up. Shave his head.
Yep.
It's like, what? It's like Kane. Kane had that really long hair. Shave him bald.
Yeah. Yeah, shave him bald. Like, don't let him put the wig on anymore. Just let him be bald. Then we're gonna put him in a suit.
Yeah. All right, so Women's Survivor Series.
Yes. Anyways, the women's we've got these teams I like a bit more. You know, it's more interesting.
It is.
So we've got Team Raw, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina. I like that the King and Queen are both in these matches, which is nice. Yeah, I like that. So, what are your thoughts on this team?
I like this team a lot better. And notice that Rhea Ripley's in there, but Nikki Ash isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that Nikki's just kind of getting sidelined essentially now. You know, it kind of bums me out. Like, I know that you got the tag team going on, but she was the fucking women's champ.
She was.
And it's like, now it's just nothing anymore. And it's kind of, it bums me out. Because it was the thing I was worried about was going to happen when she took on this gimmick.
Yep.
Is that she was going to wind up getting buried. And it seems like it's starting to go that way a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe she's got something else going on, though.
Maybe. We'll see what happens, like, once the team, the tag team eventually splits up. Because, you know, eventually it'll happen. So we'll see. But in general, I do like the Raw team. I think it's a good pairing for everything. And then we got the SmackDown team for the women. It's Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, Natalya, and Aaliyah. I don't know who is Aaliyah. I don't know this one. Know. This is one that I am unaware.
Is that Rey Mysterio's daughter?
I'm going to take a quick look. Let's see. Aaliyah. I cannot pronounce her real name. Not even a little bit. I don't know who you are, to be totally honest with you.
I wonder if she was a caller from like NXT or something.
Yeah, it looks like she was in NXT from 2015 to 2021. So she was in NXT for a long ass time. That's probably why I don't know. And then she was brought up as part of the draft. She was drafted over to SmackDown.
Okay.
Yeah, and she made her official debut on this past SmackDown on November 5th.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And she got put in. So they must really like what they've seen from her. If they're already putting, like, she debuts on SmackDown and they put her right away.
I was gonna say, considering she's getting put in over people, like, because I don't know who shows people are on, but like Liv Morgan's not in there, Natalya's not in there.
Liv Morgan's on the other team.
Oh, she's on Raw?
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I couldn't remember you saying her name.
Yeah, Bianca, Rhea, Liv, Carmella, and Zelina are on the Raw.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely think Team Raw is going to win that one.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I like, you know, like, I love seeing, like, Shotzi in this. That's fantastic.
I love Shotzi Blackheart.
I love seeing Natalya in this, you know, her getting some use. That's really cool. But yeah, overall, I think Raw will probably win the women's, and I think SmackDown will win the men's.
I 100% agree with you.
Now, what are your thoughts on what they could do for possible matches that they have not announced?
Well, you know, the men's championships will go up against one another.
Yeah. So what is that?
As it stands right now, to be Big E versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Which I think that'll be a good match, man.
I think it'll be a decent match.
Yeah, Big E and Roman. I like what they do, and I think they could work well together.
As long as the Usos stay out of it.
Because
I mean, they're really making Roman.
Yeah, but the Usos and the New Day. So like, we might just get like a brawl.
True, but I mean, Xavier is in the men's match though too.
That's true. That doesn't mean he won't. Wouldn't come out if necessary.
Which also means we should probably get who's our United States champion? Oh, it's Priest. So we should get Priest versus Nakamura, which should be a great match.
Ooh, that would be a match right there, man.
That would be a great match.
I'd like to
honestly.
See that.
I'm only gonna say I want Damian Priest to win because I'm much more a Damian Priest fan than I am a Nakamura fan. But
yeah,
I respect Nakamura.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a great match either way. And as long as I'm correct in that Rated RK Bro is still Raw champs, it should be them taking on the Bloodline.
Okay, yeah,
because it's the Usos.
Yeah,
on SmackDown.
I think that's fine enough.
I don't know who either of our. Oh, it's Becky and Charlotte.
Becky and Charlotte, which I mean, we've seen that a billion times. I'm sure that they could put on a good enough show. But here's my worry: are they going to be able to put their differences aside and give us the actual match that we deserve?
I think they can be professional enough to make it happen.
I hope so, because I don't want some shitty Charlotte wanting to take over kind of bullshit that we've seen before, and that's the only thing I worry about.
I will tell you this though: if they're going to do that match, it needs to end in a double disqualification. Somebody needs to come in the match and interfere and fuck them both up.
Yeah,
somebody that you wouldn't expect to want that spot, but going for that spot, like a Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I get that.
No, because she's a face. Shayna Baszler.
Okay, there you go. But I think
you know how you get some real heat in there? Follow me on it. I can't believe I'm about to say this one. Who is one person that you can send to the ring to interfere in that match and have instant heel heat? Somebody you haven't seen now in almost 2 years.
Oh, I don't know.
Ronda Rousey.
Ugh. I mean, you would absolutely get that heel heat.
But imagine her going out there doing that. I don't fucking care shit anymore. Yeah. Like, I don't care about you WWE fans. These titles, mine. I want them both. She just drops both women.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd hate her in one aspect for fucking destroying Becky, but she'd fuck up Charlotte at the same. I'm getting so jittery thinking about it.
Is it bad that I kind of want there to be a little bit of NXT in this pay-per-view? They'll never do it.
No, they did a couple years ago.
But I would love to see, like, Big E, Roman, and Ciampa, like, in a triple threat.
I mean, that was done a couple years ago, though.
Yeah, but I don't think they would do it now. Like, anymore. Because they rebranded NXT. I just don't think I would see it again. Because, like, you could also throw Mandy Rose into the.
Man, I'd love to see Mandy up there again.
It would be interesting.
I mean, the only saving grace was when we got the 3 heavyweight champions. The NXT reigning champion at the time was Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, baby. If Rhea wasn't in the actual Survivor Series match, I would say Rhea and Nikki versus, what is it, Toxic Attraction or whatever their name is over on NXT.
Dude, that would be pretty cool. Now they're the ones who are back in Mandy Rose, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's like the girl with the orange hair.
I think so.
Is on there. I don't know their names. But I think that would have been kind of cool because then it would have been like WWE versus NXT also, you know what I mean? Not just Raw and SmackDown.
I mean, theoretically, you could throw NXT into all those matches, though.
Yeah.
Be a triple threat heavyweight match. It could be a triple threat mid-card. You could do the Intercontinental versus the United States versus the North American.
Yeah.
You could do the tag titles all the way across the board. You could do the women's tag titles all across the board.
Well, there's only the one in WWE.
Oh, yeah.
So it would just be those 2 teams, which is why I suggested it. It's like, well, you could then still showcase the women's tag division by having it be a WWE versus
a little bit more?
NXT.
You bring in, because who's their Nikki and Rhea are both Raw right now, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Bring in a SmackDown team, bring in another Raw team, and bring in a second NXT team.
Okay.
Like a women's gauntlet match for no, I guess you couldn't do that. Never mind.
Well, I mean, so like you could do some wild stuff where it's just like 6 teams, 2 from each brand.
But then it eliminates the whole purpose of brand supremacy because it would be titles versus titles, but there's not a third set of titles.
That's true.
It kind of eliminated what they're going for.
That's true. I mean, it doesn't have like brand supremacy doesn't mean it has to be titles. Really.
No, I know.
So like even if they just brought in a female tag team from SmackDown, if they wanted it to be 3, so each brand, they could do that, even though there's not an actual title for that set.
True.
And it's there's no title on the line, but maybe they would have like the SmackDown team who doesn't have the titles be the winners, right?
Yeah.
And then they could be like, now we want some gold. You know what I mean? That could start a storyline. And I think that's interesting.
That'd be the good way to start a storyline too.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I want to see what they actually do. If maybe they give us some unexpected matches. That's kind of what I want. I want to see something that I'm not expecting.
Right.
We're expecting all these like title versus title, these champ versus champ matches, which makes sense. But I kind of want something that's different. I don't
get
know. You. Mix it up a bit, guys. Mix it up. But do you have anything else that you want to say about Survivor Series?
No.
All right. Well, folks, that's Off the Ropes for this week. It was another long one, but we had a lot to say about one.
There's always a lot to say. We got off on a couple of really big tangents this week.
That is true. But it was a good chat. Had a lot to say, and we want to hear from you. What did you think?
Always want to hear from you.
What are your thoughts on all the releases and everything that have gone down? A lot of crazy shit. Hit us up on Twitter, as you can see at the bottom. Off the Ropes JJ on Twitter. Be sure to let us know. You can also leave us a voice message. You can see right down there on anchor.fm/Off the Ropes JJ. It's Off the Ropes JJ on all of our social medias.
Yeah, it really is.
So it's really easy for you guys. But let us know. I want to hear your thoughts. Also, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Survivor Series? Do you like the teams? What are you hoping to see? Just let us know.
Hell yeah.
Give us all that.
What your favorite Survivor Series moments are as well.
Absolutely. If you are listening to this on the podcast network, leave us, if you like what you're listening to, leave us a 5-star review, and we will we'll read that shit up on air here. We do that on our other podcasts, so definitely do that.
If you're listening from Anchor, leave us a voice message, and we will play that on air.
Yes, we will. We did that on our other podcast, and it was pretty awesome.
We did.
So definitely do that. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Anchor, and we even have a Patreon, all at Off the Ropes JJ. You can find us wherever Off the Ropes JJ is. That's where we'll be. But John, where can they find you?
If you want to chat. I'm always in the same place. I'm over here on Twitter at Simply Saying J1. Right. Corresponds with my podcast and my new blog. That's right. For you people who don't follow me on Last Call at McLaren's, I have recently started a blog that corresponds with my podcast. It allows me to get more content out to you people and who want to know more about me. Post something at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, depending on how I'm feeling, or when I want to share, get shit off my head. You can also, like I said, find me on Last Call at McLaren's, which is on Josh's other channel, which is Merc with the Movie Blog. Trying to, put that in there as much as I can because I want you people to check out his other content.
Yeah, and at Last Call HIMYM on Twitter and Anchor.
Yes. If you haven't checked out Josh's other channel, Merc with the Movie Blog, I recommend really going over there and checking it out. I mean, he's got a bunch of awesome shit going on over there all the time. He's constantly doing movie trailer reviews. He's constantly talking about awesome shit. He recently just did a interview with I cannot say her name. It's Wendy, the waitress from How I Met Your Mother.
Charlene Amoya.
Right? Say it again.
Charlene Amoya.
There you go. For those of you who don't know, she's a Buffalo native, so she grew up around the same area Josh and I are from.
Yep.
So I mean, it's amazing. I mean, there is a lot of people. I mean, we're reaching out from off the ropes trying to get people to come talk to us on the show.
Yeah.
The last person, I know I hinted at this when we did the last recording. I had reached out for Shannon Moore. Shannon Moore never responded back. Last night, I reached out to the First Lady of Professional Wrestling and her husband. That's right. I reached out for Maria Canales and Mike Bennett. I don't want to shit talk WWE. I want to talk about what it's like being married in the business, traveling with your partner. You know what? I want to hear Mike's frustrations with the WWE in the whole angle of Maria got pregnant and it wasn't his kid. He was a fucking cuck, essentially. I want to hear his thoughts. I want to know what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited for that. And you can follow me on Twitter at JP Rayner. That's JPRAYNOR, as well as right down here at Movie Blog Merc, the Twitter page for my site, Merc with Movie Blog. Check out my site, mercwithmovieblog.com. I just recently put up a review of the new Matt Damon film Stillwater. Check that out. Matt Damon. So definitely check that out. And as always, folks, check us out on Off the Ropes JJ, as I said, on all of the social media platforms. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's about all I got here. This has been Off the Ropes, and we are down for the count.
Woo!
Catch you guys next time. Woo!